Hey everyone, welcome back to the show. And today what we're going to do is we're going to install the kill switch on this Losi Five-T 2.0. And this thing is supposed to be so easy that even maybe I can do it. So you know, let's just see what we have to do. Alright, so down here what we have is the kill switch harness right here. This here is the what goes to the radio. This LED light right here. When it's mounted, you know, green means it's good to go. Red means it's off. This here supposedly goes to the ignition coil and manual kill switch. Alright, and this here all plugs in to the receiver. Alright, so it looks pretty simple, but let's see what we have to do that. But first things first, we're going to go ahead and remove the receiver cover and see what we have to do. Alright, so to remove the receiver cover, to get to the receiver, all you gotta do is just pull this clip off right here. And it's a pretty stiff clip, which I'm glad, because, you know, bouncing around on rough terrain, well, you don't want to lose that. And this just flips up, slides off, and there you are. Alright, so looks like this comes with it's a SR6000, so it's a six channel radio. And what we're going to do, I think, first, or 6-channel receiver, I'm sorry. It's a 6-channel receiver, and SR6000. It's a little different than the other 6-channel receivers. They have, I'm going to slide this back a little bit. Maybe we can see a little bit more. Alright, so it's a 6-channel receiver, and it has a port here for RPM, telemetry, voltage, and temperature. So you can, if you wanted to, you could install that. I'm just going to pop this out a little bit. Okay. You see that a little better maybe? Back up. You see the other ports? Okay, we're not going to use those today because I don't have that. But we'll get this radio hooked up. Or this kill switch hooked up. Alright, so here we are. First thing I think we need to do is get this cover off so I can have access to the switch here. It's on the other side, and see what we have to hook up there so we can move on to this area. Okay, so I'm gonna pop this cover off. It just takes like 3 Phillips screws. Probably have to take this spark plug out so I can get this cover out of the way. Alright everybody, what I had to do to get to the kill switch and the coil, because this harness right here has to connect to both, is I had to take this front cover right here, that was right here, I had to take that off. Alright, so as far as that goes, that's probably the most complicated part. And the only way I could get the front cover off was to take, there's 2 bolts right here and here, and those had to be removed because they were attached to the bottom of this cover, right? So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop these wires out, and we're going to install the new harness. Okay, and the only way to get this harness to plug in is I had to take the coil loose from the block so I could do that. So I'll put this here red one right here. Right there. Okay, so we have it just like that, right? Okay, so I take my kill switch right here and I'll unplug these. Right? And we just go plug that one in there and that one in there. Right? So that part right there is all done. So all I gotta do now is put this all back together. This will, this will set out and figure out how I'm going to route this wire right here. So I'll be right back. I'm not sure if you can see it, but there's a wire right down in here coming out of here up in front that runs down. This wire, now I've taken all this, the whole battery box part loose, but let's see if I can get it out of the way. There. Alright, so I attempted to film this without having to take the carburetor off, but I just wanted to show you guys the routing of this wire for the remote kill switch. And I did carve a little bit out of here to allow more area for the wiring. But it basically runs down, and if I can move this out of the way enough, you can see that it runs up underneath the motor right here. Now in my preference, I would zip tie this to this brace right here, meaning I would basically drill a hole right here just big enough to run a zip tie through, because I don't, with the bouncing around and all that, I don't want this to be a problem. Okay, so that's how that runs. Up underneath the motor, I don't know if you can see that part right now. Let me move my arm out of the way of the tripod. So you can see it runs up underneath right here, to the other side. To the other side right here. Alright, so I took the carburetor off just to show you all that, but I'm going to go ahead and throw that back on real quick because I don't want any dirt to get in there, especially before I start it for the first time. So I'll be back after that. Alright, so you see this wire right here? Okay, so this comes from the coil and it runs up underneath, and I run it into the battery box, right? And into the battery box it becomes, I believe, this red wire. Yes, this red wire right here. Okay, this red wire will plug into this red plug right here, and from there I'm going to put everything back in place now. we have this wire right here that runs up to here that would plug into the receiver. Okay, so all you need to do is just plug these two together right here, and then go into the auxiliary port aux2 right here of the receiver, and then find a channel on your radio and go ahead and program it for the kill switch. Okay, so except in this case, and this is something that mechanics run into all the time, are like just because it's brand new doesn't mean it works. Okay, now this receiver does not work. I contacted Horizon Hobby, and they sent me out a new one. So in the next video, what we're going to do is we're going to do a bind and make sure everything was working right. Now the new receiver is the 6100, which has AVC, and AVC does not work good with a kill switch. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to turn the AVC off in order to have the kill switch work like it should. Okay, so anyway, kind of disappointing, but at the same time, you know, it's one of those things you kind of expect. They were really good about it. It was a no questions asked, just send me a picture of the receiver with everything plugged in as it is, and they sent me another one. Okay, you know, apparently, being said I've worked with warranty for so long over the years, I've come to know that they warranty, I don't care what field you're in, they don't pay for like expedited anything. So it took a while for it to get here, but really not that long. Otherwise I would have had this video done by now. And yeah, I'm kind of chomping at the bit, you know, want to do the first start on this thing, but at the same time, I don't want it to be wrong, right? Correct? I want it to be right. Okay. Next video, we're going to do we're going to bind the receiver. We're going to get all this stuff working, get it hooked up to the radio like it should be, and then we'll be ready to do the first start. Okay, so stick around for that. Next video coming up.